joining us. You can sit here. There's one more spot. Om Jnana Gyanandasya Shalakaya Chakshurvitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayamrupakala Mayamagati Svapanandikam Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Shiva Sri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, thanks for coming. They once asked Charlie Chaplin, what is the secret of success? Do you know Charlie Chaplin? Somebody. Okay. And he said 50% of your success, and you can write that down in your handbooks, is showing up at the right place at the right time. That's 50% of your success. Showing up at the right place at the right time. You want to know what the other 50% are? You don't want to know? Yes. Okay. Only 3 people want to know. You want to know? Yes. Anyway, I'm going to tell you. He said the other 50% is enthusiasm. You have to actually be enthusiastic. Do you know what the word enthusiasm means? Does anybody speak English here? Yes. Entheos. It means to be possessed or inspired by God. That is enthusiasm. Would you like to be possessed or inspired by God? Yes. Krishna Shakti Vinanahe Tarakavartam. It is Krishna's Shakti, Krishna's potency, that is acting through the devotees. So, welcome to the 5-day graduate course on Bhakti Sibhushan, outreach, preaching, and leadership. This course was devised in the mid-1990s by a group called the VTE, Vaishnava Training and Education, comprised senior leaders like His Holiness Jataka Maharaj, Sachinanda Maharaj, Bhaktivaibhav Maharaj, and many of the other senior leaders. And we brainstormed for a very long time all the components that actually make up Bhakti Sibhushan and outreach. And then we formatted it and we packaged it in a compact 5-day course. Now some of you may think, well, why am I sitting here for 5 days? I could just be out on the street distributing books, right? Do you ever think like that? Why am I sitting here? Okay, I'm answering your doubt, your question. Do you know that if you want to work in one of them fast food restaurants that are there all over the world, you have to go for a 2-week training course to learn how to make French fries? Yes. Or how to flip vegan burgers? 2-week course, okay? If you want to become any tradesman, you have to learn for 2 years, for 3 years. You want to become a doctor, 5 years initial training. If you want to become a surgeon, it'll take you 10 years before you even put a knife on a person that's alive. 10 years. Now what we're going to train you in 5 days to do is to do open heart surgery on people. You're going to meet them on the street. You have to capture their attention. You have to make a connection. You have to get them to trust you, to actually open up to you. Because you will do anesthesia, you'll cut them open the heart, you take out all that bad stuff that's there, you put in Krishna, and then you close it up, and then you wake them up again, you know. And then you put them on the road, and they walk away feeling much better, much happier, much healthier than before. Now, you think 5 days enough to learn that? No. If you want to become expert at anything, it will take you 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours means 5 to 7 years full time. Anything you want to learn, 5 to 7 years. We have here experts of all different fields. How long did it take you to become good at what you're good at? At least 5 to 7 years. Am I right or am I right? Please say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I joined ISKCON in 1984 in Zurich, Switzerland, because I got a book of Prabhupada. And then I came to the temple, I met devotees who were very different people than the people I used to meet. They were bright-faced, they were effulgent, they were very kind. They were giving me not only food, they were giving me time, they were giving me affection. They were answering every question I had, and every question I didn't have, they would also answer those. And they would give me gifts, you know. I was just a kid from school, 9th grader, who walked in the door. And just, you know, strange people giving me pictures and giving me things and, you know, not wanting anything. Then I saw people who I thought they were like saints. They were not walking on the floor. They were like literally floating. And the only thing in my mind was, how can I become like you? That was the only thing in my mind. I wanted to know, how can I become like you? So that's the goal of this course. We would like you to imbibe some of these points, then apply them, and then share them with others. So, 5 days is a very short time. It's only 6 hours per day. We're going to go from 10:30 to 1:30, and from 3:30 to 6:30 with a lunch break. There is free lunch downstairs. Did I hear Marco? So if you have lunch plans, they just got canceled, okay? You're eating free lunch here. Alright? And it's GBC Prasad, so it's not bad. It's as good as it gets. What I'd like you to do right now is, we're going to go around the room, and you're going to introduce yourself by stating your name, where you're from, and one expectation of the course. Something that you came here to learn or to experience or to observe. Is it clear?
Yes.
Name, place where you're from, and one expectation. We need a scribe here who has a legible handwriting. Can we have a volunteer? Somebody? Okay, please. And you can make one sentence with your expectation, or it can also just be one word or one emotion. And we'll start over here with our senior. Haribol.
I'm Gaurav Bhatt from Malaysia. My expectation is to be preacher, loving Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you. Don't worry about it.
Hare Krishna, my name is Manuel, also from Switzerland, from Zurich. And
is this mic working? Where are our tech support people? Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
And
this is India, so you know everything's available, but nothing works. The land that has exported more engineers and smart people into the world than any other country on the planet. But if you're here, you have to adjust to the India factor. Your expectation?
My expectation is also to catch a fire for book distribution and fire to others, because in the moment it's very difficult in Switzerland, not as was before. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Warren from Australia.
Trisha, this mic is not working.
I sort of want to learn how to inspire people to.
Okay. Inspire people. Batteries are here. Thank you. Welcome.
Lakshman Das from Italy, and I just want to understand more what I'm doing.
Okay, Lakshman from Italy. Yeah. Deepen understanding. Yeah, understanding. Thank you. That will work?
Yeah, it will work.
Just speak loud. I'll say.
Krishna. My name is Pradeep Kumar from India, Cochin.
Cochin. Okay. Welcome.
I want to book distribution more large scale.
Okay, large scale book distribution. Large scale book distribution. Hare Krishna, thank you.
I'm Chaitanya Chandra Das from Brazil. I came to associate a little bit with Niranira Prabhu and maybe learn something from
Alumni, former student, and teacher, so biggest distributor right now in books worldwide.
Hare Krishna. My name is Elaine. I'm from South Africa, and I find book distribution to be the most daunting thing. So I want to become more enthusiastic about.
So overcome.
Yes.
What do you want to overcome?
Overcome the I'm shy and fear and a little bit fearful about approaching people.
Okay, overcoming obstacles.
Yes, obstacles.
Overcome obstacles. Thank you. Welcome.
Hare Krishna, my name is Gigi Devinasi and I'm from South Africa. I want to improve my teaching.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna, my name is Jamna Priya Devinasi. I'm from Shanghai, China. My expectation is I can feel inspired by all of you, and also I can have study enthusiasm to distribute books and also learn the skills so that I can do it better.
Thank you. Enthusiasm, skills.
Hare Krishna. My name is Prema. Hare Krishna. My name is Prema Rupini Malavi Devidasi. I'm from Argentina and I expect to learn more about Sankirtan and to have your association and the Sankirtan Devotees Association also.
Anything else specific?
Association of Sankirtan.
Okay, association. Thank you.
Sure. My name is Mayapur from Mayapur. Just I want to get inspiration and help from.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hare Krishna, my name is Mayapur Darshan. I want to learn about book distribution. I have never been out for this distribution.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. There's 2 more spots here at the men's table. Somebody who's going to attend the 5 days wants to move up here. There's front row seats. Yeah. One more available. Two more available. Okay. Please speak. Camera's rolling. Yeah, by the way, this is all live broadcast from Mayapur TV, so anything you say can and will be used for your benefit, your eternal credit. All right.
I'm from Delhi, India. So I think very much how this service places are more proper. I wanted to know learn about this, and also how throughout the world different devotees have different dedication, how they use different techniques in the service.
Okay, techniques. Thank you. Okay, name, where you're from, and expectation of the course. Please have a seat.
Rajananda Das, Florida. Further study.
Something specific, tangible.
Yeah, it's fun.
Better japa.
Yeah, better job.
Better prasada.
Better prasada.
More fun.
Yeah, I'm saying better prasada.
You're in the right place. Thanks for joining us.
Hare Krishna, I'm Adi Mangalas, and from Gainesville, Florida, Krishna House. And I'd like to reignite the spark for book distribution.
Reignite the spark.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of got into it, and then I got out of it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we'll start here, and then we'll go down.
Hare Krishna, my name is Prananda Gordar. I am from Bangladesh. So my expectation is to see firing devotees and so fire my net and also fire also others.
Okay, teach others about this.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna, and Krishna Chandradas from Bangladesh. I learned how can largely book distribution and what's the secret?
Secrets. You want me to reveal the secrets? Are you ready to pay the price?
Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, my name is Bhakta Pratham. I'm a full-time book distributor from New Zealand. And my expectation is to make book distribution my lifelong career after this.
Lifelong book distribution.
Hare Krishna, my name is Nandajivan Krishna Das. I'm from Mayapur, and my expectations are to connect these teachings to my Guru teachings.
Okay. He's a teacher in Guru. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, my name is Bhakti Blake, and I think I'm looking to learn some more practical techniques and all elements of book distribution.
Okay, whatever's already there, you don't have to write it again. Techniques are already there. Thank you. Yeah, don't double them up. Just, here you've got more space. Just fill this up. Thank you, Blake. Welcome.
Hare Krishna, my name is Anish Tiwari. I'm from Indore, India. My expectation from this course is to know how to approach the different variety of people.
Okay, dealing with varieties of people. Thank you. Welcome.
Narad Kundadas from Gujarat. My expectation is fulfill your Prabhupada dream. Every man be a Kartashya consciousness. My dream distribution.
Jai Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm Rajendra Kumar Das from Colombia. And all the time I see that the more happy persons and more dancers and more beautiful person in Krishna consciousness is the Sankirtan guys. And for me, I wanna be part of this team of crazy guys, inspired guys, and fire ups. And I'm coming because I wanna make service for these beautiful persons in the world of Sankirtan. And I'm coming because my first service is follow your instruction and come. I see you yesterday and you told me come and I say yes, if you say I make. That's it.
But you're going to stay here for 5 days.
At time I have high enough.
Hare Krishna. My name is Milagro Deidasi. Raised in Mexico, live in America. And my goal with this course is to overcome my insecurities so I can talk to people. And I want to please Prabhupada and my Guru Maharaj.
Thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna. My name is Jala Roshan, and my service was Sankirtan on my life. And my expectation is to, in this age, to be there inside.
Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Hare Krishna, my name is Alex, I'm from Ukraine, and I just want to learn how to be more productive in dealing with people and more efficient.
Okay. Welcome.
My name is Dima, I'm from Russia. My expectation is take GBC Prasad, but to get power from the book for the book distribution.
To get
power.
Power. Okay. Welcome.
Hare Krishna, my name is Madhav Mohan Das. I'm from Silicon Valley. And my expectation is to develop more conviction on distribution.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna, my name is Anakaran Vidas Limited, and I would like to learn something more about good distribution on the streets and parking lot like that. New skills. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Nita Adanadas, Boston. I need more inspiration.
Okay. Welcome.
Hare Krishna, my name is Prema Rupa Mandaladas from Argentina. My expectation is to go deeper in the understanding of what is book distribution and understand more about our family business, book distribution.
Thank you. Very
Hare Krishna, my name is Dr. Zach from Denver, Colorado. I would like you to just gain enthusiasm for going out to distribute books.
Thank you. And we got two more.
Hare Krishna, my name is Prema Harinandas. I'm coming from Croatia, but I live in London last 10 years. I want to learn how to become instrument giving the mercy, and like this brother says, how to do on the streets better than.
Are you distributing prasadam in London?
Yes, I distribute prasadam.
I'm watching you. I'm watching you.
Some people watching on YouTube, they're stopping me on this. Yes.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Next to you.
Hare Krishna, my name is Gopinath, and I'm from Bombay.
Expectations?
I want to enhance book distribution. I want to start doing book distribution.
Okay.
By order one.
Thank you. All right, so this is our homework.
We got someone.
Which one? Oh. Her, yes. Oh, wait. Front. Excuse me? We've done everybody here.
Okay, yeah.
And last but not least, our scribe.
Hi, well, my name is Josie. I'm from West Africa, and I want to say what I want to name on there is actually this.
Okay, it's already there. Okay, all right. So this is our homework. This is what you came for, and this is our mission for these 5 days to do this. Some people may think book distribution is a mundane activity, it's just selling stuff. You know, marketing. You heard of marketing? Yeah? Moving goods, selling things. You think it's an ordinary type of activity. Have you ever heard of the marketplace of the Holy Name?
Yeah.
Godrum, Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Lord Nityananda, he opened the marketplace of the Holy Name. You have brokers, you have sellers, you have customers. What is the price for the Holy Name? Faith. Shraddhavan Janhe. So that is the price we have to pay, faith. So the question people have is, why should I trust you? Why should I trust you? Why should I believe you? What makes me believe that this book is going to help me and that it's going to benefit my life, and why should I give you any money? It's all about faith. So basically, you're selling faith. And how come you're so sure that this is actually going to work out for you? This is the topic what we're going to speak about. In the outside world, 80% of all the CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies come from sales. They're marketing people. And now they're running companies. In our GBC, there was meetings that just started today. More than 80% are book distributors. Because formerly everybody was a book distributor. Because Krishna is a book distributor, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda is a book distributor, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhupada, he wrote these books. He printed them, and he distributed them, and he taught others how to distribute them. So what we're doing here in these 5 days is not to teach you how to sell ice cubes to Eskimos, or, you know, nice little cute lighters, you know, to kindergarten kids, or other types of stuff. No. What we're going to teach you in these 5 days is how to receive this gift and how to share it with others. Because if you don't have it, you can't give it. The first person you have to actually sell this thing to is yourselves truly. Because if you don't buy into it, you have very little chance of sharing it with others. To convince others is easy. It doesn't take that much. It's not so difficult. You just, you know, be a nice person and say a few nice things and make them feel good. And they'll buy anything you want to sell. But to convince this person, yourselves truly, not just once, not just twice, but to convince yourselves every day successively for the rest of your life, this is a real job. This is a real challenge. That's where the struggle comes in. So that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to discuss. And we hope to be able to give you a few pointers and some food for thought. As I mentioned earlier, this course was devised in the 1990s, and it has been one of the longest standing courses in ISKCON, besides the teacher training course. We've taught more than 100 teachers to teach this course. More than 3,000 or 4,000 devotees have already passed it. It is actually mandatory by GBC law. Anybody who wants to do full-time book distribution is required to take this course. It's like you want to work in a restaurant, you got to pass a course in food handling. Otherwise, you won't be allowed to work in a restaurant. In a similar way, if you want to interact with the public and represent this ISKCON institution by giving them Prabhupada's books, this is the course that you have to take. So, we feel very fortunate to be allowed to share this with others, and we're going to discuss a couple of housekeeping rules before we get started. First of all, I already mentioned the schedule, 10:30, 1:30, 3:30 to 6:30. There's going to be a 15-minute break in both of the blocks. There's 2 bathrooms here in the corridor. There's water on your table. We expect you to show up on time. I will guarantee you we will finish on time. There's a saying, if you can't be on time, at least be early. Okay? So, five days. What are we going to do in these 5 days? Today we're just going to speak about ourselves, who we are, and all that kind of stuff. Identity and character book distributors. And day 2, 3, and 4 are going to be about skills, techniques, and standards, how to actually distribute books. And day number 5 is going to be how can we go out and do this for a lifetime? How can we go out and teach others? How can we expand this mission unlimitedly? How do we go into a bright future? So that's the menu for the next 5 days. We'll get more into specifics. And you have all of this in your student handbooks. By the way, if you agree to show up tomorrow, then you can keep these and put your name on it. If not, if you think, I'm just going to check it out, and so what? Then, you have to decide. So, on page number 4, there's a few norms for classroom behavior that I would like to draw your attention upon. This is a classroom, and in this classroom, for this experiment, everybody's equal as students. So no special status. Nobody can say, oh, I'm the oldest guy, or I'm the smartest guy, or I'm the most funny guy, or the most beautiful guy. And therefore, what I say is true, and I can overrule others. Okay? So everybody's in this together as a group. And together as a group, we're trying to achieve these outcomes. Anyone's got a problem with that? If you have a problem with that, go see Bhakta Alex there in the back. He'll explain it to you. Somebody like to read this out?
All contributions are valid and valued regardless. All contributions are valid and valued regardless of whether one agrees with them or not.
Can you give an example?
Yes. I guess if you have like a kind of either Krishna West or Krishna East idea or something.
Or Krishna South or Krishna North or something in between.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because the world's a big place and we can accommodate all the 10 directions, because, we want to give Krishna consciousness to everybody.
Yeah, so we should try to see those in a cultural aspect, and just try to see why in that part of the world they do it like that, and not judge that.
So it's okay if somebody has a different viewpoint, a different idea, a different opinion. We can live with that, We're not going to take out our, our water bottles and fight over it, right? We're going to say, okay, We agree to disagree on certain details, but in principle we agree we should share Krishna consciousness. That's what it means. That's okay with you. Because a lot of time you find people fighting about this kind of stuff. Have you ever seen people fighting about this kind of stuff? Yes. In general they agree, but in detail they disagree. And then they really get going. So we're not going to do this. So, next.
We will accept full responsibility for success and achieving our desired outcomes.
Which means that if by the end of these 5 days we're not going to fulfill these expectations, whose fault is it? Ours. Which means this guy's? No, everyone's, right? So if we go off track and we start talking about politics or soccer or how's the weather in Colombia right now, somebody can just raise their hand and say, objection, this is off the topic, we should get back on track, we got some achievables here. Alright? So if I start running off my mouth and getting into other stuff, it's your right to say, please stay focused, we want to go somewhere. Okay, next.
We will confront issues or behaviour, not people.
What does that mean?
It doesn't get personal, it's more topical.
Topical. You stay on the topic.
You say.
Play the ball, not the man, So you actually stay on the issue. We're not going to confront people. And last but not least,
we will each agree to honor any agreement reached.
For instance, if we would say something drastic like we're going to be here on time, then you're actually going to do it. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Are you sure? Yes. Okay, just checking. When I joined, I was 15 years old. And the first thing my Sankirtan leader, Vaishnava Prabhu, did was, he went with me to the store and he bought me a watch. It was a cheap watch, but it was a watch. And he said, if you don't have a watch, you don't know when we're going to pick you up. And you're going to waste everyone's time. And that's not a good thing. So he bought me a watch, and I made sure I was on time. So please try to do that. It does help. People take you serious. If you show up late for meetings, you show up late for class, you show up late for anything, in most of the cultures of the world, it is not appreciated. Okay, so these are the norms, and you've got them in your student handbook on page number 4, just to remind you. And what we're going to do now is, I would like to read the quotes by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, I'm very glad to hear that you're taking so many steps to improve things and spread Krishna consciousness more and more to the citizens at large. The main thing is to somehow or other create first quality preachers on Krishna's behalf. So many boys and girls are simply wasting their time in many frivolous ways. But if we're sincere and serious to attract them to Krishna's fold, very easily we shall be able to persuade them to join us. That means simply let them get a taste of something higher than their present-day sense pleasure. Of course, that will not be so easily done, but it will be your credit for doing it. Serious and sincere. Those are the 2 words Prabhupada always mentioned. Serious and sincere. So we're going to speak about these qualities. But what I'd like to do first, before we get into it, is how many of you attended Bhagavatam class this morning? No class today. What's wrong here? There's got to be Bhagavatam class. Okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. There is no excuse. I know. Your mind may say, oh, it's marathon, we don't have to read, we're just going to go out and do work. Oh, we got meetings, we got festivals, we got work to do. How often does that happen? Too often, right? And then there's no class. So please, make it a point. At least read 1 verse a day. Can you do that? Did you know that if you read 1 verse a day, in 46 years you will complete all the Bhagavatam. Most of you can still do it. We had one Prabhupada disciple last night at the graduation ceremony at the MI. He was one of Prabhupada's servants. And he said he heard Prabhupada dictate the books every night. But he would not read. He himself would not read, even though he heard Prabhupada dictate the books. And he's been around in the movement for longer than 46 years. So if you just read one shloka a day, in 46 years you complete all the Bhagavatam. If you read 1 hour a day, in 2 years you read the Bhagavatam. If you read 4 hours a day, in 1 year you read all the Bhagavatam. So sometimes it seems like impossible, right? 18,000 shlokas, how can I ever read this? When you try to give people a set of books, 18 books, you go like, whoa, how can I do this? Just do one verse a day. Can you do one verse a day? Yes. Some are not so convinced. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 9th chapter. Text number 29. It's one of my favorite verses. Brahma just performed his tapasya. For how long?
100 years.
100 years. 100 years he was doing tapasya. And after that, Krishna appeared. And what did Krishna do? He said thank you, and he shook his hand. That's pretty cool, huh? Krishna came and said thank you. Shook his hand. And then Brahma was glorifying Krishna with beautiful prayers. And he was asking for boons, for protection, for remembrance, for service, to not fall into Maya, to not become proud. Beautiful prayers. And this is Krishna's response. You want to hear Krishna's response?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It might change your life forever. Okay, text 29. Shivadvanu Vacha. Mavena Garbhagastandrim Sarvo Udyamam Avaha. Tanmaya Bhaditam Yagre Yanmam Partayate Bhavan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then said, O Brahma, depth of Vedic wisdom, be neither depressed nor anxious about the execution of creation. What you're begging from me has already been granted before. Have you ever been anxious?
Yes.
Have you ever been depressed?
Yes.
Have you ever wondered whether you could do the job, whether you're good enough for it? So Krishna is speaking here, addressing exactly this point. Saying that, never mind, whatever it is that you want to do, it has been granted. It has already been given so many times before. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Any person authorized by either the Lord or by his bona fide representative is already blessed, as is the work entrusted to him. Of course, the person entrusted with such responsibility should always be aware of his incapability and must always look for the mercy of the Lord for the successful execution of his duty. One should not be puffed up because he is entrusted with certain executive work. Fortunate is he who is so entrusted. And if he is always fixed in a sense of being subordinate to the will of the Supreme, he is sure to come out successful in the discharge of his work. Arjuna was entrusted with the work of fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And before he was so entrusted, the Lord had already arranged for his victory. But Arjuna was always conscious of his position as subordinate to the Lord. And thus he accepted him as the supreme guide in his responsibility. Anyone who takes pride in doing responsible work but does not give credit to the Supreme Lord is certainly falsely proud and cannot execute anything nicely. Brahma and persons in the line of his disciplic succession will follow in his footsteps, who follow in his footsteps, are always successful in the discharge of loving transcendental service to the Supreme Lord. What was the last sentence? Rama and people who follow in his footsteps will always be successful in the performance of their devotional service. Would you like to be successful in life? Are you sure? Yes. Thank you for your great audience participation. Yes. When people meet you on the street, they have three questions. There's three things they want to know. What are those three things? Who are you? Okay, number two.
What do you have? What do you have?
What's this book? And what's in it for me? Number three. What do I get out of this? If you can answer these three questions in 21 seconds or less, they will take the book. I guarantee you that. In some places, they don't mind about number one, number two. They only want to know number three. What's in it for me? What do I get from this? What is my benefit in talking to you? People in this world are looking for... What are people looking for in this world? I mean, I don't know. I'm not out there. I'm here in Mayapur. It's like here it's a different thing. But remind us. What are people looking for in this world? Friends, happiness, love, money, peace, love. What else? Enjoyment, satisfaction. Do you have any birds out there? You like Papu? You hear the birds? You don't hear the birds? It's beautiful. Do you like beauty? Do you like aesthetics? Yes. Is that important in Krishna consciousness? Sure. What was Krishna wearing this morning? White and maroon. Yellow chundra, yeah. Yeah. So, people are looking for beauty. People are looking for wealth. People are looking for knowledge. People are looking for power. People are even looking for renunciation. They want to get away from it and just be a little detached. So what are people looking for? Six opulence. What that means? Pleasure. They're looking for Krishna. Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. Everything comes from Him. He has all those things. What do they say when they look at the book? They say, who's this girl? Right? Have you heard that? All the time, right? Who's this girl? Why? Because they think girl means beauty, right? So they see Krishna and say, who is this girl? Because everything comes from Krishna. Yadyapi bhutimat sattvam srimat ujittameva tattata evam jagatapam mamante joma samala. All the beauty, all the opulences, everything is part of my splendor. The birds out there. It's part of Krishna's splendor. All the boys, the girls, all the beautiful colors, shapes, forms, everything comes from Krishna. Do you believe that? Are you sure? Yes. It's not good enough that it's there somewhere in a book. You got to actually, believe in it and then see it that way. Because otherwise you think, why are these birds out there? They're annoying us. They're not annoying us. They're just out there making their music. So, what would you like to give to people? That's a big question. Because in marketing, you have to know your market. You have to know your audience. So what is the need? What is it that they're looking for? We already heard all the things that people are looking for. Now, what is it that you would like to give to them? Okay. Fair enough. Very good. What else? In one word or less, what is it that you would like to give them? Happiness. Yeah. Mercy, knowledge, mantra, success. Devotional service. Who is Krishna? Taste for real happiness. And from our front row. Best seats. These are the box seats, you know, VIP seats. Taste for relationship, yeah. Fearlessness. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Huh? Don't people like that stuff? You know what they say? When we come to ISKCON, why do we come to ISKCON? Have you ever talked to people? Why they come to ISKCON? The peace of mind. Not that you come in and then it's, you know, buy this and do this and give me this and sign this and... No. Peace of mind. People are looking for peace of mind. Do you know that people are paying big money to go to Buddhist monasteries, to do silent meditation, to eat like rice water, and to work in the garden? They're paying big money to do this kind of things. Why? Peace of mind. So much noise, so much agitation. So you got to know what your message is. You got to know what you want to give to people, because if you don't know, and people are going to ask you. Not only people are going to ask you, your mind is going to ask you. So, I was in Guanajuato. You know what Guanajuato is? Mexico. Mexico, yes. Guanajuato. Can you name this up? Guanajuato. Sorry for my terrible word. But I like that word. So, hang up high enough so people can see it. And I was on the town square, and there was one gentleman in a three-piece suit. You know three-piece suit? You're too young to know what a three-piece suit is. It means it's a vest, and a nice jacket, and a gravatore, and the nice boots that go along with it, and a pocket watch. You know those on the gold chain? And he had a cane, and a lot of rings. And he was like about 65, 70-year-old gentleman. And I approached him. And he just looked at me. And he was like, what you got? You know? What are you trying to do? What are you doing? And he looked like a, you know, like a judge or a lawyer or somebody like aristocratic, sophisticated. So, you have many options what you can say, right? You can just say, okay, I'll give you mantra A, mantra B, mantra C, like that. Many one, many two, many three, right? But you meet people like that and you think like, no, this is not going to work. It's just not going to work, you know. He's not going to connect. So what do you do when you don't know what to do? Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't know what to do? Pray to God. Ah, you pray to God, yes. Because the God who is in the heart. If you actually pray to Him, He will tell you what to do. Always. So, you have that little moment. It's called the moment of truth. Il momento de verdad. It's the real moment. It's a small moment, but it's the moment of truth. When you realize what I was about to do will not work. Krishna tells you that. It's not going to work. You're going to try to fake it, it's not going to work. So, you got to try something else. So what is it that you have to try to do? Like Brahma, you have to perform a little austerity and you have to pray. You have to actually be sincere in your heart of hearts. And Krishna will tell me what to do. So I prayed, and I said, I am trying to develop introspection and humility through selfless service. And he looked at me. Introspection, humility, selfless service. Okay, how much? How much? He took out his wallet, he gave me the money, and he walked away with it. No arguments, no discussion. If Krishna tells him to take the book, he has to take the book. Yes. And sometimes you tell them about, how the universe was created, and everything, from the Mahatattva to the Pradana to the, 8,400,000 life forms. And then people say, okay, fine, but, I don't want it. He said, what? Come on, I just gave you the whole story. I gave you everything. Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. Krishna is the one who is the doer. He is the one who makes it happen. He is the one who can play the magic. It's not us. The devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, how do you distribute books? And how do you train other devotees to distribute books? Prabhupada said, don't teach them techniques. Don't teach them techniques. Teach them how to be sincere. Because if they're sincere, and then he motioned with his hand to his heart, then the Lord in the heart will reveal everything to them. So Krishna, in your heart, He reveal everything to you if we're sincere. And that's the art of sweet surrender. It's sweet surrender because it's voluntary. It's because we do it out of love. It's because we do it because we want to cooperate with Krishna and His plan to share this mercy with others. It's not because it's forced, because somebody says, okay, you gotta do this. Okay? You like me? Yeah? You really like me, right? Yeah. There's something going here. Yeah, I can feel it. No. You can distribute a few books by tricking people, coercing people, making a lot of noise, getting loud microphones and screaming and yelling, but not for very long. Not for very long. After a while, Krishna in your heart will tell you, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Don't you have something better to do? Did you join this movement to scream into a microphone, No. So, in any venture, there's a few questions that we have. What are the first questions? We just gave this seminar in a slightly different way to the leadership course, and it was called Being a Spiritual Entrepreneur. So, the first question in any venture, in any project, what is the first question that you should ask? Okay, we got why. Then what else you got?
What are we trying to do?
We got what? What else?
What is that?
How?
How? What else?
Where?
Where? Which as in? Whom? Correct. This is the sequence, okay? Most people, they jump right to this. I want to know how it works. Teach me how it goes. But this is not the first question to be asked. The first question to be asked is, what is it that we're actually supposed to be doing? We're not just book salesmen. It's not about moving product. It's not about transactions. People have enough transactional exchanges in their lives. They want transformation. Now, these are all lines you can use on the street. You can tell people, this is not about a transactional relationship. This is about a transformational relationship. This is stuff people can relate to. This is something people are looking for. Do people want transformation?
Yes.
Yeah, they're looking for transformation. Because transactions, it's not really that meaningful. So what is it that we are doing? Can someone remind us? What are we doing?
Trying to spread Yes.
Good idea, right? Yeah, trying to spread Krishna consciousness. Thank you for reminding us. Satisfy Prabhupada, yes. We share Krishna's mercy.
Be pure.
Be pure. Okay, yes, that is the job description. That is what we want to do. And that's very important to be mindful of that, to be conscientious of that. Because sometimes you can lose sight of the goal. Has it ever happened to you that you've lost sight of the goal?
Yeah.
Did you ever get a little confused, a little lost? You couldn't see the forest for the trees? And then you got caught up in the Lord's Maya. It's very much possible. Always ask yourselves, what is it that I'm trying to do? Just like Brahma, he was confused. He was searching for answers. He was austere, he was knowledgeable, he was all these good things, but he couldn't figure it out. So, know very clearly what it is that you're trying to achieve. Write it down. Srila Prabhupada mentioned, to remember means
Write it down.
Write it down. If you don't have a pen and a paper, please bring a pen and a paper. These student handbooks are yours to use. Some of you brought notebooks, very good. Write it down, because to write it down means you will remember. Yeah? Very good. So then comes the why question. Why? Почему? Perché? Wieso? Pourquoi? Why is why the most important question? What does why define?
Inspiration.
Yeah, closer.
Intention.
Intention, motive. As they say in criminal psychology, no motive, no case. What's your motive? People want to know why you do this. You are young, beautiful, intelligent, successful. Why are you out here trying to give me this book? I could buy this book online. I could buy this book in the store. Why are you here trying to give this? Your homework for tomorrow is to write down your 108 reasons of why you want to distribute Prabhupada's books. I'm sure you have 108 reasons, right? Do you have? No. You have 5 reasons why you're doing this. Maybe. You have 1 reason why you want to share this. Okay, come up with 1 reason, but it's got to be a burning reason. Like something that gets you out of bed in the morning. You went up from Mount Life today? Yeah, right? Yeah. So, why? Why? Yeah, that's a good reason. But you have to know that reason. Otherwise, nothing will get you there, you know? Even though you might be next door, but you won't go. So, write down your own personal reason, not somebody else's reason, your own reason. Why you want to distribute Prabhupada's books. And tomorrow, we want to hear them. I want to hear from you. What is it that gets you motivated? Because that is what the people on the street will ask you. And if you don't know the answer, you're going to look stupid. And if your mind is asking you something and you don't know the answer, that's even worse. Has it ever happened to you? Your mind goes, and you're like, I'm just here, you know. That's not good enough. Because now, we're not anymore in communism. We're not anymore in capitalism. We're in postmodernism. You know what postmodernism means? I, me, and mine. But if you don't have a personal motive, you don't have a personal reason, a personal desire, that means you don't really know what you're doing. You're just a drifter. You're just floating around. You're just lost, like so many other people. You know, lost without a rudder at sea. So, and then, tomorrow we're going to get into how, and where, and when, and who. And this is important stuff. But without this, it makes no sense. Because without motive, no case. If you cannot motivate your mind, it's not going to happen. Have you ever had that experience? You were capable of doing something, but because your mind didn't buy into it, it didn't happen? Yes. Has this ever happened to you? Yes. Or is it just me? You got full ability to do what needs doing, but your mind didn't buy into it. And it didn't happen. And it's quite shocking, because it's sometimes easy stuff, like cleaning your room, you know? Like doing your homework, like, you know, washing the laundry, like going to Mangalwadi. It's easy, it's plausible, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Why? Because we did not succeed in convincing our mind that it was useful, that it was plausible, and that it's the right thing to do. So we're going to discuss this in the coming days. You can put this up somewhere. Seven purposes of ISKCON are there in your student handbooks on pages 8. Okay. Have you heard of the seven purposes of ISKCON? Yeah. No? When Prabhupada registered this ISKCON society, where did he register it? Which year? Thank you. These are the seven purposes. You know, you have to give a purpose. When you register a society, especially a charitable society, a non-profit society, they want to know, why is it that you're doing what you're doing? So these are the seven purposes which Prabhupada wrote down, and he actually put it in the original document when he registered this time. So, it's right here. And you can read through them yourself. This is your homework, to go through the seven purposes. I'd just like to touch on point number 7. Yes. Somebody can read that out for us? Wait. Number 7. I think that's the one that doesn't work. This is the one that doesn't.
Number 7, with a view towards achieving the aforementioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, books, and other writings.
In other words, if you just publish and distribute books, you will fulfill all the 7 purposes. Isn't that a wonderful, all-in-one, comprehensive solution to all the problems? Isn't that nice? All the other stuff is important, and it's your homework. You got to read these, because this got to come in the test. You're going to have an exam, nothing heavy, just a slight, you know, on day number 5. And this is important stuff, foundational stuff, you know. Foundation, like basics. Can you read number 1 also, since you already added? So we have the sandwich.
Number 1, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large, and to educate all peoples in the techniques of spiritual life, in order to check the imbalance of values in life, and to achieve real unity and peace in the world.
Thank you. Is that being achieved through book distribution? Does this happen if we distribute books?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. So, think along the lines, how does these 7 purposes relate to book distribution? Make the connection, see how it, you know, triangulates with your own personal life. Am I actually engaged along these lines, or is this just something somebody wrote, you know, in 1966? We said foundational. Did you know that if you build a house, if you ever were to build a house, did you know that 20% of your expense goes into the foundation? Did you know that? If your house costs $1 million, $200,000 will be under the ground in the foundation. That's a lot of money. Now, no one's going to come to your house and say, hey, you got a nice foundation. They will say, you have nice curtains. Not this way. Nice curtains. You got a nice bathroom. Your kitchen is beautiful. You know, you got really nice stuff, nice furniture. But nobody will say you have a nice foundation. But when there is going to be earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, do these things happen?
Yes.
Yeah? Storms? Have you seen the storms here in Mayapur? Yeah, pretty massive and they're pretty windy. If you do not have a good foundation, what happens? Boom! Kaput. The whole thing just goes flat like a deck of cards. Everything just obliterates. In our own personal lives, have you ever wondered about the facade, the decor? How do I look? How do I portray? How am I perceived? All the external stuff. But what's my foundation? That's what we should be worried about. Because that's where everything else stands upon. Books are the basis. Prabhupada built his society on his books. He was asked often, why didn't you come earlier to the West? Why did you wait so long? You only had 10 years. Why didn't you come before? Prabhupada said, I had to write these books. Before he didn't have the first canto, he felt that it wasn't time to come and spread this message. He struggled for a long time to publish his magazines. Then he wrote the Gita, and the manuscript was stolen. It took him 7 years, almost 8 years, to publish first canto Bhagavatam in 3 volumes. And then he realized, my time is not going to work out. I want to do the whole Bhagavatam, but the time is too short. So what do you do when you realize that the job is too big and you cannot do it in the time? You get help. How do you get help? You go and get Americans. Because America will save the world, right? One honest person. Yes. If you want to make something impossible happen, you go to the place of great dreams, great hopes, and great aspirations. America. New York City. Exactly. Prabhupada went there on the Jaladuta with 40 rupees and a few trunks of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he did it. And the rest is history. Now we have 1,000 centers worldwide. We have millions of devotees. Every year there's 10 million books going out worldwide. 10 million books. It's pretty good, right? What do you think? You're not so...
We can do better.
Huh?
We can do better.
Could be better, right? Yeah.
This is the Gideons are doing better.
Yeah. Drop in the bucket. Gideons, one Bible society, one group of Christians. They're just business people who vow to give a certain amount of money. They do 80 to 90 million Bibles a year. We do 10 million books, all our society together. They do 10 times as much, just one society. So there's a lot of room for growth. But going back to the basics, foundational stuff. Focus on your foundation. Otherwise, when the storm comes, and the storm will come, things will start to shake and crumble and you will suffer structural damage. You ever seen buildings who are collapsing? It's possible. So we don't want that to happen to your spiritual life. Huh? Sometimes we get busy just doing stuff. And we don't really think too much. Why am I doing? What am I doing? How long am I going to be doing it? And then what's the future in this? And after a while, we're not going to continue doing it because we just can't go on. So, these are just some topics. Any questions so far? Yes.
To do good salvation, no?
Yes. Some tips?
Yeah, foundational.
Well, let's hear it from the group. What do you think is good foundational substance here to build your house of Krishna consciousness?
Change that books on it. Yeah, always different.
Okay.
Reading Bhagavad books.
Yes.
Spiritual practice.
Yeah. Daily practice. Japa.
Association.
Reading. Sangha.
Service.
Seva. What else? Sincerity.
Tapasya.
Tapasya. Yes.
Good character.
Good character. Yes.
Good rest.
Kirtan.
Health.
Good health. Yeah. All this stuff is important. Would you agree? Okay, we're going to speak about these things, all right? Because unless we have these things, this will not stay for long. Now we want you to be happy, healthy, and successful in Krishna consciousness for a lifetime. For a lifetime. Not just a couple of weeks, not just a few years, not just 1 or 2 decades, but for a lifetime. Now some of you are already in meditative trance. So what I'd like you to do right now is to pay full attention to Chaitanya Charaprabhu, who's going to tell us why he is distributing Prabhupada's books and what gets him motivated to do so after such a long time. Please, tell us. And you can ask him questions.
Hare Krishna. Have you started by now?
Yes, I love you.
Long seminar. Last year I attended the whole seminar, so I was in one place, I know what you are facing. So I distribute books in Brazil for a few years already. I travel in a van, so I visit small different cities. It's a very primitive van, according to Navina Prabhu. Of course, in Switzerland they have much better vans. So I travel around different cities in the south of the country. So one thing that I noticed nowadays is that people in the big cities, they are becoming more... So one thing that is noticeable nowadays is that people in the bigger cities, their society is becoming too degraded. People are becoming too egoistic. Too much drugs, sex, all these things. And so people are becoming too impersonalist and so on. So often it's difficult to distribute books in big cities, in the biggest metropolis. So a lot of times we focus or preaching or book distribution too much in the biggest cities where it's actually frequently difficult to distribute books, and we don't visit the smaller cities where people are frequently much more receptive. So that's one thing that I learned to explore. I got this van and started visiting all the smaller cities around. Cities with 200,000 inhabitants, 100,000, 50,000, 30,000 in some cases. And you visit the cities and you talk to people. Sometimes you can't just go to the downtown if the city is big enough. You can just go normal person to person. Sometimes the city is too small, so you also go to visit the stores, we even visit the houses sometimes. And in the smaller cities, like I said, people are frequently much more receptive than in the big cities. So you can have a place like the where the temple is, the capital of the country or the state. And you have your house there, your temple there, you have your base there, and from there you can travel around and visit these small cities. So one thing that is very effective that I found out is that you can organize your travelings in petals. So you imagine that you have this is your country or your shepherd. So you are here in the middle, right? So you need to, from the middle, you need to cover the whole space here with traveling around. How you can do that? Maybe I can figure out the board.
Chaitanya, can you tell us why you're doing what you're doing? Your motivation?
Okay, first I'm going to say what I'm doing. Otherwise I'm not going to understand. So one thing that I learned is that from here you can cover the whole area if you do your travels like this. Becomes like a flower, very beautiful. So you can go in one direction, you visit different cities, and then you come back in a different direction. And then you do the same thing in a different direction. This way, if you do each travel in like 1 month, 2 months, you can cover the whole kshetra. Like you can visit every city like 1 time per year, 2 times per year. And this is very effective because when people they see you first time, they become receptive because they never saw you, so they are curious. But if you are every day in the same place, you are not news anymore. So people become But if you go like 1 time and you give them a few books, and then next year you go again, and you give them different books, they can take books again, and this way you can cultivate this place. You can talk to these people every year, you can bring them new books, you can take them contacts, you can speak about what you are doing, give the website, YouTube channel, all these things. And this way you can cultivate people, and little by little you can make devotees in these small cities. You can create local programs. You can even have some centers, some bhakti diksha. This way you can, the movement can grow in these places. So that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I'm learning that it's effective. So this is what keeps me going. To see that you can actually create a lot of change in people's lives doing this. Even if you're just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, in a big country, what we can do, we have like 5 devotees and 10 million people country, what we can do. This is a way that you can preach very effectively actually. You can make a lot of devotees, and even the people that don't become devotees, you can create changes in their lives. It's interesting, I'm traveling, and then sometimes I go to some cities that I already have been a few times, and I meet people and they ask me questions, I was reading the book that we should offer foods for Krishna, how exactly I do that? How do I offer foods to Krishna? They ask this, how I can chant this Mahamantra, there is some process, how it works, why Krishna was telling Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita to kill his relatives, They come with different philosophical questions, so it means that they got books, they're reading these books, and this is creating change in their consciousness. One time I meet one man, and he said, you remember me. Last time I said to you that I was an atheist, but still you convinced me to take a book. So I read the book that you gave to me. And you know what? I'm still an atheist. But I decided to become vegetarian. No meat for me anymore. So the guy was so rascal that he read the book, still he was atheist. But at least he got the point. No meat eating. He understood. No violence and karma and so on. So he changed this thing in his life. No meat eating. And God knows what is going to happen next life. Or maybe next life is going to want to offer his food to Krishna or something like that. So that's how it works. Our book distribution is like an iceberg. You see an iceberg? Looks kind of small, like a small mountain in the ocean, right? Not so big. But this part that you see above the water is like 5%, or a small small percentage of the mass of the iceberg. The biggest part of the iceberg is under the surface. You can see it, but if you have a ship, you crash into it, it goes down like the Titanic. So our book distributions like that. We distribute like 1 million books, and you see like 10, 15, 20 people coming to the temple and shaving their heads and think, oh, so many books, so little results. But you don't know the people that are taking these books, that are reading these books, that are changing their consciousness because of these books. They may not come to this temple this life, but they may be chanting, they may be offering their food to Krishna, they may be doing so many things that you don't know. Maybe they're going back to Godhead. You never saw them in the temple. There was one case of one devotee, it was not me, another devotee was distributing books, and he got presents on book distribution. So one lady gave him a Bhagavad Gita. Interesting, right? The devotee is distributing books, and someone gives him a Bhagavad Gita. But that was very special Bhagavad Gita. So this lady, she explained to him that her sister, she got this book a few years back. So her sister died of cancer. So cancer, everybody knows what cancer is, right? So she explained to the devotee that, she was always reading this book. So I know that she got this book from one of you, but to me this book is not interesting, so I'm giving you back. Looking inside the book, I think you are going to think it's interesting. So the interesting thing about this Bhagavad Gita is that it was the whole book, all pages, they were marked. Just like when someone reads a book, you mark some parts in the book, right? The whole book, all pages were marked, many marks. And it was not just one type of pen, it was different types of pen, different colors. It was just one person reading this book, so it means that this person would read the book several times, and each time she was marking different things in the book. And it's interesting to imagine that this lady was reading this Bhagavad Gita when she was dying of cancer. So that's a very interesting situation. She was taking shelter in the Bhagavad Gita. She really, found this book inspiring, she was reading it, she was meditating on it. And what Krishna says, one who knows my activities, he doesn't take part again in these material worlds. Who knows? It's possible that this lady is there in Vaikuntha or Goloka, laughing at us that are still here. So I got here first. So many cases like that. There was one lady that I was distributing books, and she showed, you remember me, you gave me a book some time ago, and she showed me a small japamala. And she said, I made my, see, the small japamala she was carrying. See, I made myself. Every time that I have time, I'm chanting the Maha Mantra in these beads. So I didn't really understood what happened because she took a book, but where she learned how to make a japamala, how to chant the japa, I was not understanding what exactly happened. And then I remember exactly what I talked with her the first time. So this lady, she was a very nice lady, very pious lady. So she took a book, I spoke something about, because there was a temple in our city, I spoke something about temple, but she was not interested in temple. She's an old person, she don't like to see many people, she was not interested in temple. But I gave her a book, and I added her on a Facebook group, WhatsApp group that I have with people that I meet. When I meet someone that is very interested, I add them on this group, WhatsApp group. Because in Brazil everybody uses WhatsApp, I think everywhere. So I added her in this group, and in this group I give some classes on Bhagavad Gita, I teach them to make japamala, chants, all these different things. So on the group that she got this thing about the japamala. So she read the book, and she was not interested in temple or anything like that, but she understood the main points of the philosophy, that is to chant and to always remember Krishna. And she was trying to always chant the mantra wherever she can have time. Maybe she's chanting more rounds than most of us. that's how it works. So by a case like that, you can see the effect that this book distribution had on people. And remember, what we see, people that we see coming to the temple, they're just the tip of the iceberg. The effect of our preaching goes much deeper. Two decades ago, you had Soviet Union. Who caused the downfall of Soviet Union? Prabhupada. Because he went there and he started distributing, he planted the seeds, he started distributing transcendental knowledge. And then the people started to, the whole consciousness of the country started to change. There's so many stories of devotees in Soviet Union times. There is, for example, one story of a few devotees that they were working in some kind of communal farm. They were planting oranges and other fruits on this farm. So these devotees were working on this farm. What they will do, some kind of communist farm, they were more or less forced to work there. But what they will do is that every year, when they will pick the fruits, they will put all the fruits in a big barn, in a big deposit, and they will go there at night, when nobody was seeing, and they will make a huge kirtan there. They will offer all these fruits to Krishna. The whole deposit, the whole plantation. So these fruits will go all over the Soviet Union, and everybody will be taking prasad. All these leaders of the Soviet party and so on, they will be all taking prasad. And then eventually one guy called Gorbachev became the leader of Soviet Union. And then everybody was saying, Gor. Everybody was chanting the name. Gor. And then the whole country was chanting, and then the Soviet Union went down.
Any questions to Chaitanya Charan Guru? Chaitanya Charan. Yes, Chaitanya Charan. Yes. No, just speak loud and you can restate.
I guess I have two questions.
Yes.
I thought that you only distributed in one place. No, you've been for years. You've been traveling.
No, distributing a part of the country. So in the sense is one place. There's so many cities there.
For some reason I thought you just did one city, like where you were, but you traveled.
Yes, I travel. I think that's the secret. If you want to increase your distribution, you should travel. It's very difficult to distribute every day in the same city, even if it's a very big city, but the mind gets tired. It's difficult. No, but if you travel, meet new places, new people, it's much easier.
And my second question, I've been doing traveling book distribution for years. I was wondering, because you're a householder, how does that work? This is practical. You don't
No, but you open World Sankirtan newsletter, right? And many of the biggest distributors there are householders. The brahmacharis are losing.
I know, that's what I'm wondering how does that happen? How does that work?
Yeah, the point is that you need to conciliate this. You need to make some agreement with the wife. Okay, stay a few months with you here, the rest of the time I travel. I send you money every month. Don't be concerned. Every month I'm going to send you money, but no, I can't stay the whole time with you. You need to make some agreements. It's possible. And of course, the notice that they don't do traveling Sankirtan, they just stay in the same cities.
Sorry, when you said traveling Sankirtan, is it a group thing or is it single man?
Yeah, normally you should be in a group doing traveling Sankirtan. I just do alone because just what was working. But ideally should be a group because it's dangerous to travel among different regions.
Grandma in the back.
Prabhu, thank you. How do you maintain yourself in enthusiastic way, and how you do it your sangha? What's your sangha? when you are traveling so much?
Maintain you mean like health, like this? Or?
No, maintain yourself enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic.
Being alone, alone. Krishna, of course, but...
Yeah, we need to see what works for you. For me, I get enthusiastic by reading Prabhupada's books and giving classes. But of course, other devotees may have different requirements. And then you see what you need and you try to get what you need.
We'll take one or two more questions and then we have our break. Yes, here. Okay, we're looking for questions that are related specifically to his program and what he's doing. If you've got general questions, you can ask them later on. We're also introducing a concept that's called the car park. So we're going to park this question about people who don't have a reading habit here. Somebody can put this up and write it up. Okay. We put in the car park. Just write on how to deal with people who don't have a reading habit. Okay? What? Okay, all right. Your question.
It's about your foundations. What is your roots? Who is your purpose in your spiritual life? What maintain you Krishna consciousness?
What
is your roots, your foundation?
That's one thing that I learned that is important for Buddhism. That you should have a very strong connection with Srila Prabhupada. Because you are distributing his books, so if you don't have a connection with him, it's very difficult to have this impetus to go and distribute his books. Because you tend to distribute, if you have connection with somebody else and you don't have connection with Prabhupada, then you are going to want to distribute books from someone else, not from Prabhupada. You understand? So that's what's important, is to understand this concept of parampara. That I have, Krishna there in the top, and then, Brahma, and all the way to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and then Prabhupada. And then after Prabhupada, you have your spiritual master, or maybe you have two after Prabhupada. But you understand that your spiritual master doesn't replace Prabhupada. He's a transparent medium to Prabhupada. He increases your connection with Srila Prabhupada, not that he becomes your connection. He doesn't replace, he increases your connection with Prabhupada. That's how it's supposed to be. So it means that you come to the movement. Probably you came because of a book. So it means that you have some connection with Prabhupada because he was reading his books, right? You are taking sections from him. And then you get a spiritual master, right? The spiritual master, you should understand that he is supposed to want to teach you, to help you to understand this message from Srila Prabhupada, not just to replace him. So if you see your spiritual master and you don't see Prabhupada behind him, something is wrong with your understanding. So I thought that this is an important point for Buddhist people, this connection with Prabhupada.
Okay, let's thank Chaitanya Prabhu. He's also writing a book, which will be published.
Actually, I'm publishing already.
Already? Okay. So it's going to be online, so people can.
I'm going to put
Yeah, he's going to write the address on where you can find it. I read most of it, and it's deep stuff. It's really intense. If you have other points or other questions, you can ask him.
It's for you.
For me. Okay.
About this topic. I want to know about your foundation in the beginning, and if your foundation in the beginning is the same that your foundation now, because it's so many years preaching, so many years giving your life to Srila Prabhupada, and for me, I want to make this homework, that what is my foundation, but I want to know about you, what are you thinking being in the past, what moves to inspire you, what is your foundation.
You want to know? You want me to tell you? I'll tell you after the break, okay? So I'll see you back here at 12:20. You got 15 minutes. If you need to use the restrooms, walk around, you can go to the gardens, chant Gayatri, have some water, and then 12:20 to 1:30. At 1:30 there's going to be lunch downstairs, so please come back. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Also, I have some cards, yeah.